Levels look good.
All right, here we are at Tyndall Barbell,
Yes, episode 1 of the Strength Shop.
the Strength Shop podcast. That's what we're starting with anyway. We might, I think that's the name though, right?
I think that's a good name.
I feel like it's
it works. We're in a shop.
We're in the
kind of
shop.
strong.
We're kind of
It
strong.
works.
And we're planning on getting stronger.
That is, yes, that is the goal of the sport, I think.
So yeah.
Okay, we're your hosts. I'm Andrew Langelaar, pro strongman with Strongman Corp Canada, as well as the Circuit Home 4.
And I am Gord Grimolfson, National Lightweight Master Champion 2023. 2023?
2023.
Yeah. I'm terrible at years. Like somebody's like,
you've lived so many of them.
Yeah. Oh, this happened in 1990. I have no idea.
I was 1 year old in 1998.
Yeah, I was graduating and getting drunk.
Fair play. And also, you were 15th place at OSG 2024.
Yeah, that was a wild experience. We'll definitely talk about that more as we go.
Absolutely. For now, we're just getting into it. So a little bit of why we want to do this. We've both been on other local podcasts, had a lot of fun. Gord and I have been buddies for a long time, and always kind of thought, hey, it'd be fun to sit down, talk strongman, strength, training, health, fitness, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just go what's going on with our days. It doesn't even have to always be about strength. We can go whatever. We want to talk about our day. We want to talk about people just driving. I really don't care.
Realistically speaking, our days are 90% strength sport related, though.
Strength sport related.
We're a tad obsessed. And
bitching about work.
More or less, yeah. That's 90% of the Snapchats I get from you.
That's right.
So
yeah. I'm not fun to work with.
Yeah. So obviously not a whole lot going on in the local scene right now, given that it is the end of January time we're recording this. We got a couple things coming up, but the first thing really is the Arnolds. I believe, according to my phone countdown, we're 35 days out.
35 days, yeah, to a fairly big international show.
I'd say. And the body's definitely feeling it. It's that point where, all right, we've put the work in, and now everything feels terrible, and you're just kind of practicing and trying to hold on to it until taper time. So
40 days out, you're feeling good. 40 days, you're like, oh man, this is going good. 30-some days there, what happened?
Yeah, you hit that brick wall, and I think that's one of those things that transitioning over to strongman, I'm lucky enough to know from powerlifting, is that's how I should feel.
Yeah, it is how you're supposed to feel, but it seems like it's always a shock every time. It's always,
I think it's just amazing you feel so bad.
It's so bad, but it's like
you're riding a high, you're hitting PRs, everything's great, and then all of a sudden, just wham, everything hurts, your elbow's going to fall off, your knees ache going down the stairs.
But the weights are still going.
The weights are still going.
That's the most important part, that the weights are still going.
Yes, exactly. And that's where you've got to film the sets and stuff and make sure that it's still working. But so the Arnold's is a heavy show, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's maybe part of why I'm apprehensive about the soreness this time around is you got two max events if you make the finals in the Pro-Am side. Right. And then for you with the Masters division, you have the one max log.
Yeah, one max log.
Yeah. Now that said, though, I think it's a relatively new thing. I mean, I'm only in the sport a year myself, but these Trump weights.
Yeah.
I don't remember that being around a decade ago.
We did have it a couple times at local shows with stones. At the end, that's the only place I'd ever seen it, is we'd have a choice between two stones. Yeah. And I think we had it at Brick House one time. I remember two stones being told they were 300 or 260 and 330 or something.
They weren't even close.
No, I loaded it, and Devin's like, I was actually 300.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what?
Well, it works out, but I know that even the Brick House Power Challenge or the Brick House Strongman, like, that's not old.
No.
Because, I mean, my first Brick House powerlifting competition was, I think, in 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'd had the Strongman show yet.
No, that's only been, I believe my first year doing Strongman was one of their, they had one the year before and I missed it for some reason, I don't remember. But the year I started was, what was it, 2019? Yeah, so
2018, 2019 we're talking. But even then, I mean, that's still...
That was when they started bringing in weight class shows. I think they had shows there randomly, but it was all just open CASA, stuff like that. I'm not super well versed on the history of the weight class stuff, of where it started. But I know there was one before I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even if we just say, let's say 2017, I mean, we're not even a decade into this.
Right.
With having these big weight class shows. And I think also, too, is how fast that part of the sport's grown, is the weight class side and the age division side, which is fantastic.
Yep.
But these trump weights seem to be a really popular thing, and I don't see them going away because it really creates separation. I mean, if you were watching OSG, which I know you guys weren't watching so much as competing, but I mean, I was watching at home, and I know if you saw a guy go up and he didn't get a rep on that trump weight, you knew that wasn't a guy who was going to be in the finals.
Right.
And I don't think any of the guys who were in the finals didn't get any reps on the trump weight.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I'm fairly sure that that's how that went.
I would say that's pretty good. It's hard when the weights are that heavy at a world class show because they're all like for my division. There was 13 guys that zeroed the light log. I use that in quotations obviously because it's not light. The opening log was 280, and my best going into that show was 270, and it was hopefully I could hit it I had it almost all the way up, and I'm happy with that because it wasn't something that I expected to hit. I would have been disappointed if it was something I expected to hit and missed.
I really thought you had that rep. I know you fought it for a very long time.
Yeah, the light started to go out.
But I was saying that too, because I mean, 13 guys zero the light log, but how big was your division?
26 guys signed up, 23 competed.
So basically, the finals guys, so 10 guys, hit reps on either log.
No, they hit reps on the logs for sure.
On a log, but 13 guys didn't get a rep, period, on a log.
So one rep on the log was 13 points minimum.
That's insane.
That's huge.
That's massive. I mean, that OSG that's the premier show. That's where it should be.
Yeah.
But still, that is just a crazy discrepancy to think between competitors.
Yeah. The heavy log was 310.
And to me, like, that's a reasonable jump.
Oh, that was
I know,
nice,
I think the men's log was 320 or 330, and the trump log was 380.
I believe so, yeah.
Or 385.
It was a good sized jump.
That was a 50-pound
Percentages,
jump,
it might be
percentage-wise, it might be close. But then that brings me to the Arnold, where, so for me in the men's open, the light trap bar deadlift is 720.
Right.
Which, that's about what I expect it to be.
Yeah.
Well, the trump bar is 900.
Right.
So it's a 180-pound difference.
I feel like maybe the light bar isn't as heavy as they expected it to be, though. Because you're gonna pump a 700, no problem.
One of those needs to come down. Yeah. Like if you trap bar deadlifting,
I think at that high of a level show, maybe the light one should go up. Because for me, it's 560, I believe, and that's not bad for me. And I feel like it should be more towards my 80-90% because I'm not an elite world-class lifter by any means. I'm reasonably strong for my size and age, but 700 is a good trap bar deadlift, but I don't think it's maybe second best show in the world deadlift.
Well, and let's put it this way, where if we're looking at it just from a deadlifting perspective, and we're saying, hey, these are pro-ams, and to be fair, I think the weights were determined before the pro-am occurred.
Right.
So for anyone uninitiated, the Arnold Amateur Strongman Classic is now the Arnold Pro-am, and the winner gets a guaranteed invite to the Invitational the following year.
Right.
So last year, Nick Guardione won, and now he's in the Invitational.
Right, which is deserving.
And really, it's great to me that there's now more shows allowing that, especially with all the controversy around World's Strongest Man not having an official qualifying route.
Right.
Then Brian Shaw coming in and basically kind of giving the finger to World's Strongest Man and saying, hey, my show is bigger, heavier, and I'm going to give a guaranteed pathway.
Right.
Well, now the Arnold steps up and goes, okay, well, we're going to give a guaranteed pathway, more prize money. So I think it's just the athletes are winning because all these shows are competing amongst themselves.
Right.
So that's great.
And it's great for the sport. It's great for TV. Like these shows are more aesthetically pleasing. Like the Shaw is a beautiful show to watch. Like
it was very watchable.
The venue is nice. The equipment is freaking top notch. I mean,
yes.
What more can you ask for?
Not a whole lot. But now with that switch to the Pro-Am, you now have people coming in who wouldn't have been eligible previously.
Right.
And
because they're pros or
because they were pros. So the way it used to work is if you won nationals, you got an invite.
Right.
At least from Canada.
Right.
So now, if you're an SCC pro, which I don't believe there's many of them in Canada right now. I think I might be the only active open men, because I think some of the previous winners under the SEC are no longer active. I'd have to double check. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's only like 3 of them, I think.
Right.
But so that was the only pathway.
Okay.
But now, if you have a
who won in
strong
Winnipeg? Did Lars win?
I believe it was Nate Edwards.
Okay, Nathan Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Dan. They got their pro cards via that road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Nate Edwards, he would be an SEC pro.
Right.
So him and I
Would
get an
Dan be an
automatic
SEC
invite.
pro?
No, because he didn't win.
Okay, you need to
Yeah.
win.
So
Right.
he gets on the Circuit Home Floor,
Right. That's that's not SEC.
which is not SEC. So SEC, historically a card which is an emerging thing. It doesn't really gain you any benefit versus the circuit.
Okay,
Now
so one
gives you
question I
benefit.
have now is Dan has a pro card, and I guess I could ask Dan, obviously, but just for shits and giggles, we'll talk about it. But is he not, now they say he's not eligible to,
So
I think he should be, because he
he
didn't
is,
win.
but there's a way to do it. So
But he can't compete locally.
he can't
because he's a
compete
pro.
locally,
But he's not an SEC pro.
but he's not an SEC pro.
So why can't he compete in a local SEC show? I think there's something there that needs
that
to
would be
talked
something that
about.
needs to be
Yeah.
addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something where, again, growing federation probably needs to be discussed.
Yeah, and maybe somebody knows the answer already, and if you know the answer, then great.
That'd be for,
Help us out.
I guess, Sound Max. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so with the SEC card now, you get the auto invite to the Arnold.
Right.
So if you're a Strongman Core or Strongman Core Canada, my understanding is you're automatically eligible every year to enter that show.
Right.
There's also
So we didn't
qualifying routes.
when Joss and I won, we didn't push for the pro cards because there was really no pro shows. But maybe it would be beneficial now for us for this particular show, if it matters, for an auto invite to the Arnolds for future, not necessarily like we get our invite this year just cause we did win. But is it an ongoing invite? Because
I'm not sure how the Masters works.
Yeah.
To be totally honest, because I know you guys are.
Well, now there's a reason. Now there's a reason to talk about it.
Now there's a reason to bring that conversation up, and
Yeah.
maybe that's something for you guys to pursue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because I
I
think
definitely
now,
enjoy
honestly,
these shows. I enjoy the prep for these shows. They make me a better athlete.
well,
100%,
and
yeah.
when I look at it, I go, okay, well, now that I know there's a qualifying pathway there, that will likely be where I start my season moving forward. Maybe I'll skip next year just to give myself some time off,
Right.
have a development year. But like, moving forward, that's a good place. So I think you're going to start to see a lot of those guys from Strongman Core, from SEC, and also, so this is where Dan comes in. International professionals who do not have a Strongman Core group
Right.
just have to email and explain who they are. Okay. So say a guy like Jeffers, a guy like Joey Lavalley, a guy like, these guys who are not SEC pros, but are pros on the circuit.
Well-established professionals.
Well-established professionals who have, a guy like Jeffers finished 4th at OSG.
Yeah.
It'd be easy for him to email and say, hey, I'm a professional.
Yeah.
There was no SEC when I earned my pro status. Here's a list of my accomplishments.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the bar is going to be very high.
Right.
So
Which it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
And obviously they're trying to give their own professional athletes of the Strongman Core and SEC.
Right.
They're trying to give them the priority, which totally within their rights. But they are opening it up to other pros. So let's say if you're from Australia or somewhere in Europe where they don't have a Strongman Core division, you can still email and apply. They just expect you to have some level of accolade behind your name.
Right.
So
I would expect that. Yeah.
yeah.
So this launching of this master show at the Arnolds has come with how do you qualify? So it came with a list of how you qualify, but it was a pretty easy to list to make. You know what I mean? I almost saw the top 3 bullet points were reasonable. Winners of national, your nation, or then it got into podium at provincials, which I was like, I don't know if that's...
So that also qualifies for the Arnold Pro-Am.
Right.
So
Provincial.
Billy Hornaday.
Right.
So at nationals, top 2 get the invite. But because BC has such a giant federation, Billy got his invite through winning BC provincials.
I get that. If it's a big pool, if it's a small pool, I don't really get it. I feel like it should be still an application process of what makes you think you should be there. Because then you're just going to have guys in there that are like probably not really supposed to be there. You know what I mean? But
yeah, there for a free T-shirt.
That's not free. It costs you thousands of dollars to
get
there. But in the end, you want to keep the competition high. I mean, I'd love it if less strong guys come because I want to beat some people.
Absolutely.
So I guess maybe I shouldn't shoot my mouth off too much. But
to be, I think also you mentioned it there, but I think the cost factor is going to keep the show small enough.
Oh yeah, I guess so,
limiting the application process. I mean, I know it's travel and hotel. I think I'm already over about $2,500.
Yeah,
just to get down there and to stay there. So
I'm honestly banking on the international competitors that were really good and not being able to afford to come back to the show.
Honestly, fair. And I mean,
because there was a guy from Scotland that was just like, I'm like, what in the world is this guy on?
Just a monster.
And I'm like, okay, maybe he can't afford to come back to the Arnolds.
You never know. Well, and honestly, that might be one of those things. But that kind of goes back to where if you can't tell, I'm medicated. I don't know if Gord's medicated, but we tend to ramble and jump around topics. But that goes back to where we're starting with this, with the Trump weights, where I wonder if those weights were selected before they changed the qualifiers. Because when I look at guys like your Andrew Burdens and your Sukups, and I think there's a couple other guys there who were, if not in the finals at OSG, they were very, very close.
Yeah.
And I know...
Pulling 900 in a straight bar.
That's what I mean, where they were getting suited on an axle, but regardless, they're getting reps at 800 plus. So let's say you're a 900-pound, 800-pound straight bar puller. It's not unreasonable to say you can pull 900 on a trap bar.
Yeah,
that's not unreasonable.
Pick point comes into play.
Pick point comes into play.
Yeah,
but if you can pull 800 on a straight bar, you absolutely are going to take 720 for a ride on a trap bar.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I think, to me, when I look at that, I'm like, and I've always maintained, I think the car deadlift that we had at Nationals this past year was perfect, where I think the winning number was 9 reps.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
To me, that's
once
great.
you get up to 15, 20 reps there, it's
just not...
It's not fun.
Honestly, to me, anything over double digits, like we all joke, 8 reps plus is cardio, but it's like, if this is strongman, and that's the point, the weight should be heavy enough where your leader is probably around that 8 to 10 reps at the high end.
Yeah. You're going to have some zeros. You want zeros. Some.
Yeah.
But you got to have the mix between the zeros. If you're having zeros and 20s, it's not a good show to watch. It's not entertaining.
I agree entirely.
Yeah.
And I think that it's weird. I think the Trump is there to reward the guys who want, and maybe that's their thought, is that they don't want people to come all the way to the Arnolds and then take a zero.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the 720 is for.
I do like it, because it does. It's not a be all end all, I don't think. I think
it gives people a chance. So, I mean, I know one of my fellow pros, Larson Hare, fantastic overhead presser, but struggles with his deadlift.
Yeah.
I know he was not going to get reps on the heavy bar. He knew that going in, but he managed to get reps on the lighter bar.
Right.
Well, how much is that good for his motivation factor versus taking a zero? Right. It's going to keep guys in the show. Is there still a chance for guys to get points?
You get those guys back the next year.
Well, and also I think that when you look at, let's say that event, if you just have a bunch of guys, let's say the weight for OSG was just 800 pounds.
Yeah.
That's all you were taking.
Right.
How many guys got reps on the lighter bar who would have otherwise just taken a zero?
Yeah.
And what does that do to the points?
Yeah.
So I think the Trump is also nice because it spreads the points out a little bit.
I don't like those shows where you can get 20 guys competing and they all tie. You can get 10 ties. Yeah. If you're doing like Westerns, they had the yoke to sandbag.
Yeah.
Right? And you just tie after tie after tie. There's no way to spread the gap. You know what I mean? They should have went split times. I believe they should have went split times because then it would have given a gap. You know what I mean? Guys, later in the show, you need to make up points. And if you have an event like that where you can't make up points, it's kind of pointless.
Well, and the one with the Westerns thing that... So I enjoyed Westerns and I did well in that event, but also thinking is, hey, you had ties at... I think Tyler and I tied, maybe, or a couple of guys tied around where I was.
Yeah.
But you had a built-in tiebreaker on that event where you had the yoke carry, the Zercher carry.
Yeah.
So you could have just timed that Zercher carry and you would have been set to go.
Yeah. The
So
thing about the time is it's almost impossible to get 2 exact numbers. The human error factor, I would say almost. If you got one tie, it would be a shot in the dark.
I'd be amazed if you managed to get a tie.
You'll have those ones where it's coming down to a second or two and guys will be playing back videos and whatever. The ref's call is the ref's call. If you think you can ref better, go ref. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that's where I like this idea of the Trump bars. That
I like it. It makes a show watchable too because you want people in the stands. At OSG, you need people to pay the spectator fee and you need them to enjoy the whole day because if they're not enjoying the day, it's a long day when you're waiting for your open competitor at the end of the day to go and you want to go there early or you got 2 competitors you want to watch, one in the morning, one in the evening. Well, you're not watching the middle if everybody's zeroing. I'm not watching. I'm out
and that's exactly it, honestly. It's like, I don't want to watch a bunch of people just fail and fail and fail. I think that that's a weird mentality to have. It's just like, oh, I want people to come in and take this zero.
Yeah.
I heard a promoter say once, and I'll keep the name out of it, and honestly, I just can't remember at this point, but they said that their goal was for half of the show to zero.
Really?
An event. It was one of the deadlifts. I went, why is that your goal? Like, we're trying to grow the sport. Maybe like 2 or 3 people are inevitably going to zero.
And they're going to know they're going to zero. And they're not worried about it. Like, they go, they'll pull a yank, whatever. They're done.
Yeah, I'm going to zero this. That's fine. I mean, Adam's great for that.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Adam Z. I took a couple zeros.
Yeah.
He knows. Hey, I'm going to zero this. Yeah. That's fine.
But it doesn't stop him from working.
Yeah, he's still going to go and do the events that he's able to do.
Yeah. But then he knows a number for next time. You know, that bar got me. That's one of my worst pet peeves is when something gets me, it eats at me for a long time after, and I got to get it back. You know what I mean? That 280 log at OSG, I lose sleep over it sometimes. I'm I'm going to get that thing. I don't care.
I think that's something that we're both looking forward to because speaking of events that a lot of ties happened is at the max log at Nationals. I don't know what happened. I just screwed it up. The prep was bad. I don't know what I did there. But it really underperformed.
You had your lifters on.
I had my lifters on,
Take those things off.
Westerns, I was in flats.
And then it all comes full circle.
2 reps at 325, and then I barely got the 300 at Nationals and lifters, and now I'm back in my flats and things are moving well.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that max log.
Yeah.
One, because we're on that Slater 12-inch.
Yeah,
which
we get the wood log
just
too.
cool.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Hopefully it's not too different.
I might actually pay for the overpriced media package now. I want pictures.
What was it worth? I didn't look.
15 pictures was something like 200 USD.
Ooh,
something like that. Steep. It was heavy.
Luckily we got a photographer with us.
Yes, thankfully we have. Shots by Shelby.
Shots by Shelby. Shout out to Shots by Shelby, future sponsor of the show.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, hire her for all photo packages so she can give us all her money.
Yeah, there's a promo code Gord Grim 10.
Exactly.
Gets you almost nothing off.
Yes, yeah, she's stingy with the discounts, but for good reason. It's good photos.
Yeah.
Anything you see pretty much on the Strong Manitoba page now is going to be, that's just all her pictures.
Right.
Iron Image, anything where they announce anything for me or you, it's all her pictures. Yeah. So it's
and the Strength Shop podcast at her
and the Strength Shop
page
podcast
will be full of Shots by Shelby.
Yes, we'll be working her to the bone.
She's doing a lot of stuff for nothing.
You know what? I program her.
That's true.
That's like a $200 a month value.
Yeah, I think you're overselling yourself a bit.
That's okay.
100.
Oh, hey, how much free stuff do you want here, man? Okay. I could tell her it's a $300 a month.
Yeah, let's tell her it's 300. You're a professional strongman.
Exactly.
They don't just give away their time for free.
Exactly. I have to. I was a certified strength coach. Now I'm a pro. I have to double my rate. That's how it works. 100%. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to that max log. I know you're looking forward to that max log.
Yeah.
Kind of getting a little bit of redemption.
That's what I want. Yeah.
And then going into that trap bar, I mean, I'm going to take a crack at the 900.
Yeah.
I think I can get.
But the question is it worth taking a crack if you're not sure you can get it? Because we saw guys at OSG come out, blow a nut on the trump, and then come back to the light bar and be too gassed to get anything.
So I think we have 60 seconds. My thought might be is I may warm up in the back to just shy.
Right.
Take a rep at the light bar as my last warm up, then go to the trump if it feels good.
Yeah. I'm for sure gonna hit at least the first bar. I want the trump, and I think I can pull the trump, but I want to be able to I believe I want to pull it for 2 before I go. To be for sure. I don't want to YOLO that one.
So I'm a little mixed on this because my season for 2025 is so forward packed where I've got the Arnold. 6 weeks later I have Keystone, which is a local powerlifting meet that just frankly I have a chance to win some prize money at. And I like money. 6 weeks after that I have Western Canada's Strongest Man.
Right.
4 weeks after that I have to defend my title at Manitoba's Strongest Man.
Right.
Then I get a break.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of be careful. And also the fact is I had to take some time off because of my shoulder after Nationals. So I'm kind of still having to build through and be smart about this. So I've been pulling my straight bar deadlifts before my trap bar.
Right.
So I haven't done trap bar fresh or peaked.
But your trap bar is looking good. So
my trap bar is looking good.
Pulling that is a good thing.
And that's where I think that,
because your trap bar is not going to be your first event.
But probably my heaviest exposure to the trap bar will probably happen about 18 to 25 days out. So probably the next week or two, we'll hit something really heavy. And I mean, we'll see what I do tomorrow when we go down to training grounds.
Right.
But I'm very optimistic I can hit that.
Yeah.
It'll just be a matter of, for one rep,
Right.
and just cut it there, cut my losses, or do I try to fatigue? Because if we go down to the next events,
right.
they're also very heavy.
They are. Everything's very heavy.
Yeah.
What's your, like, so say you're predicting you can hit it. What's your number, let's say 5 reps, that you're going to be able to go actually have a chance at hitting that Trump number? Do you go with I go with like an 85%. If I could pull 85% for 5, 85% of the Trump for 5, that gives me the green light to go train to the heavy bar. If not, I might be a little more relaxed or pull back a little bit and be like, no, the trap bar, the Trump bar is out of my wheelhouse because I can only pull 75% for 5. So then I'll be like, no, I need to focus on volume on the lower one and get more reps on the lower one versus killing myself in that 80, 90% blowing a nut trying to get the Trump bar.
It's hard to say. It's weird because, again, I don't really have a 1 RM for this that I've been working off of.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'm saying, well, hey, I can, like I said, I think I pulled 800 for 5 from comp weight. And that was a couple of weeks ago. Like, I'm more beat down now.
Yeah.
So that was a good sign. And I think that puts me in a pretty decent spot because that is above.
I think we figured that out above 85%.
Yeah, somewhere above 85%.
Because I think mine at 85% was like 605 or something. Right now, my Trainer Royal calculator puts my 1 rep on my trap bar at 695. So that's a predictor. So tomorrow we're going to do a max 5. So hopefully I can get, I'd like 630 for 5 tomorrow would be my kind of a really good predictor for me that I'm on the right path. Not necessarily, tomorrow's workout is 5 rep max with 1 in the tank. So no failing. Okay. So that's kind of what we're going to, tomorrow's going to be a big day for deciding which way we go.
1 rep, half rep in the tank. You know,
half-ish. Probably not 1.
Yeah, I probably didn't have it, but you got it. I think
the boss always asks, did you have 1 in the tank? Oh, yeah. I did not have 1 in the tank.
Yeah, but we all have our little white lies with our coaches.
Or ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All me.
That was like a RPE 8.
Yeah.
Dude, you just about passed out.
Yeah, exactly. RPE air, or whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Pet peeve.
I hate RPE.
I hate
too,
that.
just
Yeah,
so you know.
but me too. Trust me. It's one of those things.
We'll have a whole show on how we hate RPE.
Exactly. Well, and for personal, I think if you use it with a video and you can kind of gauge it, sure. But I think that a lot of people misuse it.
100%. Yeah.
That's a whole different thing.
We can. That'll for sure be. That'll for sure be an episode, though.
Exactly. So then, obviously, trap bar. Next thing's heavy. So now we're going into the yoke, which for me is 900 pounds.
Right.
For 60 drop turn 60.
Okay, mine's 50.
So you get a little bit less.
Yeah. Because I'm old.
I wish. Yeah. So like at Westerns, I ran 975 in 17.92 seconds, something like that.
For how far?
For 75 feet. With
75
no
feet.
pick. Well, I did have to pick because I dropped it because Bambi.
Yeah.
But so now with this, I have to do the intentional drop, turn, go.
Yeah. That's
going to be kind of rough. For you, I know you don't like yoke.
No, I didn't. I'm actually liking it now.
You're starting to like it more?
Now that I've never really consistently practiced it because I've always, I've convinced myself it beats me up, it tears me down, it affects everything else. So if I'm skipping a workout, it's yoke every time.
I would agree with that. I have found that I don't get beat up as much as I thought.
I don't. That's what I'm finding out now.
Where I'd love to have a GHR,
an
Iron Image. I've been bugging Tom for it.
Right.
Or even just an inversion table, or I might just hang myself upside down because sometimes I feel like I'm 3 inches shorter.
100%. Yeah.
I'm so lacking on height. I can't afford that. But
the more I have the yoke, the more I do the long runs, the better. Here it's hard to do because we're in gravel in the yard or in the shop. It's only like 35 feet here. We can only go so.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
For here it was good for training for OSG because 800 pounds was out of my wheelhouse. So
I just have to get something.
Yeah, my best was for 10 feet.
Yeah.
And then when we hit OSG, I got it for 46.
I really thought you were going to finish that.
I was
screaming
dying.
at that TV.
Yeah.
But, so that's going to...
I can hear Devin yelling at me too. Pick it up. I'm like, I'm tired.
I'm old. Leave me alone. But
he just yells at me.
I think that one's going to be rough.
Yeah. I think I'm excited for it.
I'm excited
like today's went good. Well, 690 for... My calf cramped up on me pretty bad, so I had to put it down there. But I I think I did the first 50 feet in, I think it was 17 seconds or
You were
something
cruising
like that.
pretty good.
Yeah, it was going good. And then the turn, I suck at the turn there.
Gotta,
that's when I start to think. I start to think, oh, it's too heavy. I'm tired.
Can we just have someone at one end? You know, you drop it, come through, slap you in the face, and turn around and just go.
That's what I need.
I think that might be the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to do it that way. But I think that'd be good. I always go into yoke thinking it's going to be awful, and I do pretty well at it. I won the yoke at MSM. I finished, I think, 4th or 5th at Westerns.
Right.
So I'm like, it seems to be a good event for me.
Yeah.
It's just
it's just getting better.
Well, and to be fair, both those events I dropped it.
Yeah.
So I just got to get it where I don't drop. Yeah. A little more stable, less Bambi-esque.
Yeah. That's my goal, is to get the full length without dropping.
It'd be nice
and I do believe I can do it, but the thing is now I want to do it faster. So now I've gotten past the point where I think I can do it, whereas before I didn't think I could do it, but now I know I can do it in one pick. But now I've got to figure out how to make it faster. So
I think if you just do it in the one pick, it'll be fast enough.
I think so.
Yeah, slow and smooth.
I feel like how much faster could you really be? Like, there's guys going to be faster, but
yeah.
Even watching the guys at OSG, there was nobody lightning fast with it. They were just steady.
Yeah.
So
I think the majority of the packs that were finishing and doing well were just going steadily.
Yeah.
Then you had the men's open where Yannick and Gabe just sprinted, and that was stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are outliers. You have those in every event. I mean, you had John Hack winning the deadlift without a suit. It's like, okay, that happens, but those are outliers. We don't talk about them. The average person was plodding along steadily, just smooth and easy. So
with a regular yoke face,
exactly.
Probably gonna die.
But that'll be okay. I think I think I'm more worried about that one than I should be. But I've been putting in the work. It'll be okay. It's just gonna be one of those things on game day that I just have to deal with.
Yep.
Which then I believe for me leads into the last event of day one. For you, your second last event, which is the sandbag loading.
Right.
Which I like.
What was your words a couple weeks ago?
I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. I'm like, aren't you worried? I'm not too worried about it.
You gotta tell yourself that. So my 180 kilogram Husafel sandbag has arrived. We just filled it prior to recording this. It's about the size of Gord.
It's huge. It's massive. Yeah.
So
it actually looks silly.
It's not real. You can't convince me that's an actual implement. So I'm gonna get some practice in there. Like I said, I know I can load heavy implements. I know I can get under them. I'm not too worried.
And it's not even the weight of that Husafel bag. It's the shape of it. It's
that's where I'm
learning how to pick it up. And that was my problem at OSG is I didn't ever touch one, but I thought, it's 300 pounds. I can lift a 300-pound side bag. Yeah. I could not lift that thing.
And that's where I'm going to have to play with it. And like I said, I got time. I got 3 weeks of good, solid, heavy training before I have to really just kind of deload the events I got to train. Yeah. So I'm confident I can figure that one out. But that medley for the men is just stupid on the open side. I think it's 350, 365, 375, 395, 405.
Right.
Over a bar, and you have to carry a couple, and then it gets closer progressively.
It's like 5 or 6 feet or something. It's not far, but
it's not far.
It's far enough that I've played with it here, and it throws you off. So now you have the bag in that position. Now you're at the bar. You have no pop.
Yeah.
So picking it now the question is, do I drop and load, or do I shoot?
Yeah.
And shooting has not always been the best. But
it could work, could not work.
You have to know which ones you're going to shoot and which ones you're going to load.
You do. And that's the same thing with one motioning stones. I mean, I don't one motion most stones because I just haven't practiced it.
Yeah.
If
you need to be confident.
You have to be confident you're going to do it. You have to know that's a stone you can get.
Yeah.
Now, like for you, the weights are...
They're heavy.
They're heavy.
My top bag is 310 Husafel.
That's very heavy.
I'd have to look at the board. I think it starts at 267, 265.
Oh, so you got a very tight spread then.
Five bags, yeah. It's 2 bag Husafel, 2 bag Husafel.
Yeah, that's what I've got is bag Husafel, bag Husafel, bag.
Yeah.
So that's going to be...
I'd have to double check. It might even be 3 Husafels.
That's going to be rough.
I don't know. But the 267, I have that bag, and I can load that one not bad. Like I've learned to pick it. I've learned to load it. It doesn't scare me at all, that bag anymore. The 275, I pumped the other day for 5, so I'm not worried about that weight range. I'm worried about my ability to last the whole event, like the GPP. Like
that's fair. Just keeping
so being able to figure out once the bags get closer and I can just pick, lap, load, then I'm okay. It's the pick, carry,
not get your wind sucked out of you.
What do I do? Yeah. So that's something I just got to figure out what I'm going to do.
You just got to get fitter, I guess.
Yeah, fitter, less fat.
That's what it is. And then that wraps up.
I'm excited for that event, though.
Yeah.
I think I really want to do well in it, and if I can get all 5 bags, I'll be over the moon happy, which I don't think is unreasonable for me to expect of myself.
I don't think it's unreasonable. You're good at loading.
Yep.
So, and then that wraps up day 1 for me.
Yeah.
The finals events for the men, I think it was World's Strongest Man 1973 they were citing, where basically you're sitting on a lat pull-down bench and you're doing an arm-over-arm hoist through a pulley with weight on the end.
Yeah.
They haven't announced if it's going to be ratcheting or not. I would expect it not to.
Can't let that
we'll
thing
see.
fall. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's in a convention center. There's a floor you got to worry about. Even that, you got to worry about damaging the floor and stuff. So I suspect they'll implement a ratcheting system, which makes it, I guess, a little bit less of a grip event. And but either way, still a grip event. And then
as much as a truck pull.
What bums me out is that the last event is a max keg load. And if I'm being completely transparent, I don't see myself making the finals.
Right.
My log is just not where it needs to be to get sufficient points there.
It's just fair. It's your first year.
It is what it is. And also now that they've opened it up and you've got...
Is that technically within the span of a year for you competing?
March.
When was the
novice show last year? It was April.
Yeah.
So it's still within a year of competing.
A year and 1 month. And so you don't make finals. I think you'll be fine.
I think I'll be okay. I'd like to do those, but it is what it is. But my log's just not there. There's some monster deadlifters there. I got a good deadlift, but I'm not, pro strongman level good yet.
You're going to make guys work. And that's kind of one thing that I look at too when I go to a show is I know I'm not going to win, but I'm going to make it work. You're not just going to not push yourself. You're going to look back and be like, I got to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was telling him, Billy has never beat me.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I don't intend to let you beat me this time. So it's like, hey, if I can just, I think I can get close to making the finals. I don't think I'll get in the finals. But if I can finish in that top 20, I'd be pretty content with that.
That was me for OSG. I knew I picked a number before I left what I wanted. I wanted 15th. That's what I was like. That tells me I can hang, but I also am not delusional that I thought I could have won. You know what I mean?
It's like,
but then I go back through.
If things went my way, I could have been in the finals.
Well, I've gone through the score sheet. I've gone through the score sheet 50 times since OSG, and I think, okay, if I got that log, that's 13 points. That would have put me in 12th. And if I would have just been able to pick that Husafel, that would have put me top 10.
Well, and there's just a lot of those, especially with OSG where there's so many competitors. I think Jeffers was saying that if he was 0.6 of a second faster on one of the events, I think it was maybe it would have been the yoke or the medley, I can't remember, he would have won the show.
Right.
If you look at the points, if he'd been just that little bit faster, he would have won the whole show.
But everybody's doing that too. Everybody has that.
That's the thing. Everyone has that little thing, right? So you can't. But at the end of the day, right? It keeps you like, hey, if things had gone just a little more my way, I could have been there. And that's one of the things you got to think about, right? And so, I mean, for me, it's like, hey, if things happen, they happen. I'm not expecting to make the finals. So that wraps up probably my competition is day 1. You have a grip gauntlet to wrap up your day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that looks like for you.
I'm not sure what that looks like either. They haven't announced it. No, it'll be predetermined. Okay. I assume it'll be something similar to like the arm lifting thing there. Some pinch grip stuff.
But you're aware of the reputation Canadians have with grip, right?
Well, I got that blue collar grip, so I'm not going to suck at it.
The old man grip strength?
Yeah. Okay. I don't train a lot of farmers, and I'm decent at them. And I do want to train these events. Devin has a lot of the implements, so we're going to pick them up tomorrow. So
that'd be good. Just give them
a try. I'll be able to play with that stuff. I get sore hands. I'm old, so
arthritis.
Yeah, arthritis. Yeah. But I don't think I'll be bad at it. You know what I mean?
So, well, if they haven't announced the implements,
and that's just how I am as a competitor. I'm not terribly good at anything, but I don't have any huge holes in my game.
Which kind of makes you a great strongman.
Yeah, it does. I won nationals by not winning a single event. I didn't win one event. I was the best at nothing, but I was the best at everything.
But if you're just the best on average, you're going to win the show. And that's why people complain about the point system. They're like, Half Thor won 8 of the 10 events at Strongest Man on Earth and he didn't win. It's like, but you know what? He really crapped the bet on that last one.
Well, that's what I saw that firsthand at OSG. A guy wins the log, and then when it came to the yoke, couldn't budge the yoke.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't necessarily, not the guy that won the log. I'm not going to say that, but a guy who did very good at log and got 20 points, then comes back and hits the yoke, can't budge it off the line. And I'm like,
and then you're just screwed there, right?
Whereas, if I would have got some points on the log, the points that I did get on the yoke, I would have been ahead. You know what I mean? But the guy's really good at long.
That's where I think, like, you can't have an outlier in your game. You have to be consistently
big
good
holes
all
in your
the way
game.
across.
If you lose 20 points in one event, you're not coming back to win. There's no way. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I would say that it's probably impossible. If you're bottom 3 or 4 in a 15-20 guy event, I don't think you can win.
Dude, it would be really, really
It would be
difficult.
some.
I mean, well, look, we saw that. I mean, not to bring up the worst moment of last year's season, but MSM, right? I won the stones. That was it. But I was second, third.
Yeah.
Tyler won, I think, 3 of the other events. Second in another one to Dan, and second to me in the stones. But he had such a rough result on the arm over arm that he lost the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, he admits it. We've talked about it. Like, you have to be well-rounded.
100%.
And if you're going to have a big gap in your game and you're going to ignore it for years, you're going to continue to have that gap and you're just never going to improve it.
I agree.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to the show. I think that I know where my weaknesses are, but I think this show is going to really solidify it and kind of tell me more where my weak points actually are and what needs to be improved.
Right.
I think you probably feel more or less the same way. Hey, I know where I fell short of OSG.
Yep.
And actually, the events are semi-similar.
Very similar.
Very
similar.
It gives you a chance to kind of get a little lighter.
So I'm like, okay, it's the first time a second large event I've ever done, but my first OSG prep was anxiety, was stress. It was weights. I saw all the weights. I can't lift any of those. I've never lifted.
Anxious?
Yeah,
I would never have thought.
You guys will get to know me.
Yeah.
I had a 1 or 20 meltdowns, but
but
that's But then I see the weights for this show, and they're slightly less, but I know where I'm at, and I know where I can get to. So I'm actually more confident and definitely at ease, more so than anxiety stricken.
You're zen. You've found inner peace.
Inner peace, my chi.
Channeled it.
Yeah, I'm such a calm guy.
Exactly. Well, speaking of inner peace, we should probably wrap this up because we were signaled to wrap it up 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. So we were only 3 events in, though.
Exactly. We had to go.
This is supposed to be.
This is what the people want.
We're just giving you what you want, people.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know who you are yet. We know you're probably Martin.
Yeah, Martin's for sure listening.
Probably Devin.
Devin's
Back
gonna listen,
dead.
even if it kills him.
Yes, he will listen. He's upset.
You guys suck. Your audio sucks.
Yeah, this is awful. I figured it out better than I.
Yeah, we'll have 47 suggestions.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be gentle suggestions. It'll all be from Devin.
And then we're just gonna hit him with, you're gonna have to join us.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's how it's gonna come back.
If you want to change it, get on here.
It'll go from 2 to 3 real fast.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if we can fit all 3 of us at the table though. Devin's got pretty fat in his retirement.
Yeah. No, he's slimming up. He's on the Nathan Payton diet. He was only a pound heavier than me last week. I know.
What?
I know. He's fast.
He was like 260. Like.
Yeah. He's 240. I was 240. I was 239 last week, and he was 240.
Don't you have a weight cap to make?
Shut up.
On that very positive note, that's episode 1 in the books. We'll see you guys next time.
We love you. Yeah, baby.